Okay, here I would like to explain about the setting of time and also setting of place. For the first is setting of time of a novella, A Christmas Carol. The setting of time of this novella is on Christmas Eve. So what is Christmas Eve? Christmas Eve is the term of the night of the celebration of Christmas. But unfortunately, the author didn't give us the detail of the year or era about this novella. It is just written there as Once Upon a Time, as said in the Steve one, Once Upon a Time of all the good days in the year on Christmas Eve. Okay, the next setting is setting of place. The general setting of place in this novella is on London. Actually, there is no explanation about the details of which city the author is referring to, but some location names are only exist in London, such as Cornhill and also Camden Town. There are also some detailed places such as Scrooge Counting House, Cornhill, and Scrooge's home. Here, for the Scrooge's Counting House is proved by the part of text. Old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house, and for Cornhill, went down a slide on Cornhill at the end of a lane of boys, and Scrooge's home, and beguiled the rest of the evening with his banker's book, went home to bed. Okay, the next setting of place is Scrooge's jailed-out country, with each proved in the part of text said they passed through the wall and stood upon an open country road with fields on either hand. And the next is Scrooge's school. The, the school is not quite deserted, said the ghost. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is left there still. The next is baker's shop, and the part of text said for he stood with Scrooge beside him in a baker's doorway, and taking off the covers of as their bearers passed. And the next is Bob Cratchit's home, which is said on the text, and on the threshold of the door the spirit smiled, and stopped to bless Bob Cratchit's dwelling with the sprinkling of his torch. Okay, the next setting of place is a bleak and desert moor. The part of text said, they stood upon a bleak and desert moor where monstrous masses of root stone were cast about. And the next is a lighthouse, said in the text, on which the waters chafed and dashed the wild year through. There stood a solitary lighthouse. And the next is a ship. The text said, until, being far away, as he told Scrooge, from any shore, they lighted on a ship. They stood beside the helmsman at the wheel. And the next is Fred's house, said in the text. It was a much greater surprise to Scrooge to recognize it as his own nephew's and to find himself in a bright, dry, gleaming room. And then the next slide for setting of place. The first place is heart of city. Said in the text, they scarcely seemed to enter the city, for the city rather seemed to spring up about them and encompass them of its own act, but there they were in the heart of it. And then a beetling shop. The text said, far in this den of infamous resort, there was a low-browed beetling shop below a penthouse roof. And the last detail setting place is a churchyard. The text said, he paused to look around before entering a churchyard. Here then, the wretched man whose name he had now to learn lay underneath the ground. That's all for setting time and also setting of place. We'll continue about the setting of environment.